Have you ever really thought about how many unwritten rules we live by?
Yeah.
It's kind of wild when you stop and think about it. Like, just imagine the way we line up, how close we stand to each other, even what we talk about.
Right. Or when.
It's like we're all doing this, like, silent social dance all the time.
It really is. It's a fascinating kind of dance, too. And one that, honestly, most of the time we're not even aware of.
Totally. So that's exactly what we're going to deep dive into today.
Yep. The world of social norms.
Consider this your crash course on, like, the psychology behind all these invisible forces, the
Right.
ones that shape not just how we act, but how whole communities behave.
Yeah, exactly. And our guide for this whole thing is this awesomely detailed entry from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy.
Oh, I love the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy.
It's great. This one is on the psychology of normative cognition.
Catchy.
Super catchy, I know.
Yeah.
But it is packed with insights about how we learn these social rules, how we follow them, even how we enforce them.
And that's what we're here to do. We're going to really unpack how this all works in our brains.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, like, why do different groups, different societies have such different rule books?
Right, right.
And how do these rules get so, like, baked into our thinking and our actions?
So by the end of this, think of it like you'll have this new lens to look at, well, everything. You know, from your family's weird traditions
Right.
to those, huge cultural differences you see when you travel.
Exactly.
Okay, but first things first.
Yeah.
We got to define what we're even talking about here.
For sure.
Like, what are social norms? Because I feel like it's got to be more than just, being polite.
Oh, you're definitely right. At their core, social norms, think of them as these informal social rules.
Okay.
They tell us basically what's okay, what's expected, what you absolutely have to do, or what's totally off limits.
Like a rule book for how to behave in a group.
Exactly. And the thing is, they change depending on the situation, too.
Okay, so, like, give us some examples, different kinds of examples.
Okay, so, you've got the formal norms like traffic laws.
Everyone stay on your side of the road, please.
Exactly.
Don't run red lights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all generally agree to drive on a certain side of the road. I mean, most of us. Then you've got norms tied to morality, like just knowing that stealing is wrong,
Thou shalt not steal.
basically.
Okay.
And then there's this whole other layer. It's like those more subtle social norms,
Okay.
like how far apart you stand when you're talking to someone.
Yeah, sometimes you just take a step back.
Yeah. And what feels totally normal in one culture might feel way too close or even too far away in another,
That's so true.
or even like how loud you talk.
Oh, yeah, library voice.
Exactly. Library versus a concert, totally different rules.
Right, you never really notice these unspoken expectations until someone breaks them.
Exactly. And here's the thing. While the exact content of those norms can be completely different from one culture to the next,
Right, like different ways of saying hello.
Yeah.
Exactly.
or, like eating habits.
All of that.
Yeah.
But the point is that norms, they always exist. Every human society has them. That's universal.
So it's like some norms are about like fundamental right and wrong,
Okay.
things that feel pretty universal.
Right.
And then others are more about just fitting in with your specific group or your culture.
I think that's a great way to put it. And usually the norms related to morality, they're about preventing harm.
Right. Don't hurt people.
Exactly. They tend to have a wider reach. But then you have those super specific norms, like dress codes for certain jobs,
yeah.
or even like what your role is in a team.
Like who takes out the trash?
That even, yeah.
It's all norms.
Hmm.
Okay, but these rules aren't set in stone, right? Like, I feel like they change over time.
Oh, definitely.
And let's be honest, some of them can be, like, pretty unfair.
Oh, absolutely. Social norms are dynamic. So something that used to be totally fine can later on be challenged and changed.
Think about, like, all the changes around gender roles.
That's a perfect example. Yeah.
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 And, yeah, norms can be unfair. I mean, they reflect power structures or biases.
Yeah.
So questioning and challenging those norms, I mean, that's how we make progress.
Totally. Okay, so we've got a good handle on what they are.
We do.
But why do we even have these things? Like, zoom out for a second.
Yeah, big picture.
Is there some evolutionary reason why we follow and create these social rules?
I think that's a really interesting question. And this is where the whole cognitive evolutionary perspective comes in.
Okay.
The main idea here is that our ability to have social norms isn't just some random thing. It probably evolved.
So it gave early humans some kind of edge, like survival or something.
Exactly. Cooperation was huge for early humans.
Right.
And being able to learn from each other, that's how they thrived.
Yeah.
And that leads to what we call cumulative culture.
Cumulative culture.
Yeah, so that's how, whether it's beliefs, norms, skills, even technology, information gets passed down and built upon, not just between individuals, but over generations.
Oh, so it's like how we went from simple tools to building, like, the James Webb Space Telescope.
Exactly. Each generation builds on what came before.
Okay, I get it.
Think about building shelter.
Okay.
So early humans, maybe they found a cave, right?
Cave dwelling.
Basic.
Yeah.
But over time, they learned to make huts. Then those huts get more complex, more sophisticated.
Until eventually you get, like, skyscrapers.
Exactly. And that's cumulative culture.
All that accumulated knowledge and practice. Okay, so where do social norms fit into that?
Well, think about it. Bigger groups of humans, they can hold more of that cumulative cultural knowledge.
All right, more brains.
Yeah. But to really make use of it, they need rules, norms. You got to coordinate behavior. You got to have cooperation. So the groups with good norms, they do better, right? They're more successful.
They're more likely to survive.
Exactly. And that shapes our environments, and then it creates a whole new set of pressures. Now you need people who are good at being social, good at learning and following the norms.
So being good at the social game, it's not just about fitting in, it actually helps our species do better overall.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so how do we actually get good at it?
Well, to make that whole learning process even more efficient, our brains probably develop these social learning biases.
Biases.
Yeah, think of them like mental shortcuts
Okay.
to help us figure out which norms to pick up.
So like what kind of shortcuts?
One of the big ones is conformity bias.
Okay.
You're more likely to do what everyone else is doing.
Makes sense.
See, most people doing something a certain way, you'll probably do it that way too.
Like how fashion trends spread like wildfire.
Exactly. Conformity bias. And then you have prestige bias.
Okay.
We tend to pay more attention to and copy the people we think are successful or high status.
Oh yeah. So-and-so does it, so it must be right.
Exactly. And there's even evidence that we remember information about social norms better than other types of information.
Because messing up socially can be, like, pretty bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can even be dangerous.
So better to remember the rules.
You're right. And all of this, those biases, those culturally transmitted norms, they lead to institutions.
Okay.
And all of that is what's thought to be behind this human ultra-sociality.
Ultra-social.
Our ability to work together on a huge scale,
Yeah.
even with people we're not related to. I mean, think about the systems that make modern society work.
Right.
It's all based on shared norms and expectations.
Ultra-sociality. That's a big word.
It is.
But it really shows how important norms are.
Right.
Like, we wouldn't have the world we do without them. Okay, so there's this debate, right, about whether we have this special part of our brain just for dealing with norms.
Yeah.
Norm psychology.
Around psychology, yeah.
Right.
Like a specialized module just for understanding and following the rules.
So is there, like, a little rule book interpreter in our brains?
Well, that's one way to think about it. And it's interesting because some think it might be linked to language.
Oh, so like how Chomsky said we have this universal grammar.
Kind of, yeah. Some suggest there might be a universal moral grammar. Like some basic principles are already there when we're born.
Fascinating. So what about these tribal social instincts?
So those are thought to be like more recent evolutionary developments. They fine-tune how we act in groups.
So things like being really aware of who's in our group and who's not.
Yeah, exactly. And also feeling things like guilt if you break a norm or loyalty to your group.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that. Okay, so we've explored the evolutionary side of things. Let's get into how this normative cognition actually works in our brains.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty.
What do researchers look at when they're trying to figure this all out?
Well, different theories focus on different aspects.
Yeah.
But one big one is the difference between type 1 and type 2 cognition.
Type 1 and type 2, just a quick refresher.
Sure. Type 1, think fast, intuitive, mostly unconscious.
Like gut reactions.
Exactly.
Yep.
Type 2 is slower, deliberate, takes actual effort and reasoning.
So when it comes to social norms, are we mostly using our gut or are we thinking it through?
Well, it seems to be a mix.
Okay.
A lot of our behavior is driven by those fast, intuitive processes.
We're on autopilot.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We react and follow norms without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
But we can also think about them explicitly,
Right.
Decide if they're fair, teach them to others, even break them on purpose.
So it's like I might just instinctively feel Like I should help someone who's struggling.
Right.
But then I think, wait, am I actually supposed to intervene in this situation?
Exactly. And one of the biggest challenges for these theories is to understand how those two types of thinking work together.
Right. Because it's not always clear which one's in control.
Right, and that brings up the whole question of how much control we actually have over our behavior when it comes to norms. Because if some of it's automatic, it could be influencing us, even if it goes against what we consciously believe.
So it's like you might believe in being fair, but still have these unconscious biases.
Exactly. That's what research on implicit bias shows us.
But you're saying we can override those automatic tendencies sometimes.
Yeah. It takes effort and self-control, but it's possible. You know, you might feel really strongly about keeping a promise, but you might have to resist breaking it if something comes up.
Even if it seems like a better option.
Exactly.
Okay, another thing you mentioned is how we actually represent norms in our minds.
Right.
Are they like rules written down somewhere in our brains?
That's one idea. Like we have these explicit sentence-like rules. Don't cut in line, say thank you, that kind of thing.
A mental list.
Exactly.
But if that's the case, how do little kids understand social expectations before they even have language?
That's one of the problems with that theory, yeah.
And how would that explain, like, the automatic stuff we were just talking about?
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit, does it? So there are other ideas. Some think it might be more like how we learn skills.
Okay.
So we develop a mental model of how it's done, rather than memorizing steps.
Through practice.
Exactly.
Well,
Others think norms are represented implicitly through reinforcement learning,
like we learn what's okay based on the consequences of our actions.
rewards and punishments.
Okay.
And some even think certain norms aren't really in individual minds at all.
What?
They emerge from interactions in a group.
That's wild. So a greeting could just develop over time, like organically.
Exactly. And most researchers now think it's probably a mix of all these things.
So different norms might be represented in different ways.
Exactly, depending on the norm and the context.
Okay, so what about the nature versus nurture question?
Ah, yes. Well, others emphasize the role of general learning processes, like conditioning or statistical learning.
So we learn social rules the same way we learn anything else?
Exactly. By observing, by experiencing consequences.
Okay, so are there any, like, middle ground theories?
Yeah, for sure. Some talk about a norm system, like an integrated set of mechanisms for learning and using norms.
Okay.
Others view it as a kind of kludge,
A kludge.
like a bunch of different systems that weren't designed to work together, but somehow do.
So like a hodgepodge of brain tools that we use for norm.
Exactly. And then there's Hayes's cognitive gadgets framework, which suggests that our ability to explicitly think about rules is actually something we've culturally evolved.
So it's a skill our culture helps us develop.
Exactly. But we use those more general learning processes to build it.
So nature and nurture.
That's the general consensus.
Okay, last thing. What about motivation? Like, why do we actually follow these rules?
Right. That boils down to whether we're intrinsically motivated or instrumentally motivated.
Okay, break that down for me.
So instrumental motivation is basically you follow the rules because you get something out of it.
Like rewards or avoiding punishment.
Exactly. It's all about the consequences.
So we're doing a cost-benefit analysis in our heads.
Pretty much. And that involves conditional preferences.
Okay.
Like, I'll follow this rule if I think everyone else is too.
Makes sense.
And then, second order, social beliefs.
Now that sounds complicated.
It's basically like I think others expect me to do this, and I think they expect each other to do it too.
So it's all about figuring out what everyone else expects.
Exactly. But then there's intrinsic motivation.
Oh, okay.
This is where you follow a norm because you've internalized it. It feels like the right thing to do, regardless of any consequences.
So you do it because it aligns with your own sense of right and wrong.
Exactly.
But even if you're intrinsically motivated, you might not always follow the rules perfectly.
Oh, for sure.
Like, what if something more important comes up?
Right. Self-interest can win out sometimes.
Okay, so is this normative motivation just a basic part of how our brains work?
That's a big question. Or does it come from other things like desires or emotions? We don't really know for sure.
Okay, you mentioned a model by Sripada and Stitch.
Right.
How does their model explain all this?
Well, they think we have two main mechanisms. A norm acquisition mechanism and a norm execution mechanism.
Two parts.
Yep. The acquisition mechanism is basically a rule detector and decoder.
Okay.
It spots the cues that tell us there's a norm, figures out what it means, and then passes that info to the execution mechanism.
So it's like, hey, there's a rule here. This is what it is. Now go follow it.
Exactly. And then the execution mechanism stores that info in this norm database.
Like a mental filing cabinet for rules.
Yeah. And it figures out when to use a specific norm and then
Yeah.
makes you want to follow it.
It makes you want others to follow it too, right?
Right. And maybe even punish people who break it.
Interesting.
They think a lot of this happens automatically without us even realizing it.
So it's all happening in the background.
Pretty much. And importantly, they say the motivation is mostly intrinsic,
So we follow the rules because we believe in them.
not just because of rewards or punishments.
Hmm.
And they say that motivation can be really powerful.
Like when people go to extreme lengths for their beliefs.
Exactly. And they use this idea of independent normativity to support that.
Independent normativity.
So that's the idea that norms can influence us even when there's no one to enforce them.
Like no police, no consequences.
Right. And that fits with their internalization hypothesis.
Yeah.
When you internalize a norm, it becomes motivating in itself.
Okay, that's a really cool model. So what are some of the big debates happening right now in this field?
Well, one huge one is about cultural variability.
Because, like we said, everyone has norms,
Right.
but they can be wildly different.
Totally. And the weird thing is, those differences can exist even when societies face the same kinds of environmental challenges.
So it's not just about adapting to your surroundings,
Right. It shows how powerful cultural transmission is.
passing down norms through generations.
Exactly. So researchers are trying to find broader patterns in how norms differ across cultures.
So, like, are some cultures more about shame, while others are about honor?
Yeah, stuff like that. Or the difference between individualistic and collectivist societies. They also look at the moral values behind those norms.
Okay.
Like, how much weight does a culture put on things like divinity, autonomy, and community?
It's like a whole cultural psychology thing.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then you have this idea of cultural tightness versus looseness.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So tight cultures have strong norms, low tolerance for breaking them, and harsher punishments.
Strict.
Very strict. Loose cultures are more chill, more tolerant, more forgiving.
So is it like certain personalities gravitate towards certain cultures?
It might be, but there's also a thought that a culture's tightness or looseness comes from its history.
Oh, interesting.
So societies that have faced a lot of threats, like natural disasters, tend to be tighter.
Because you need everyone to be on the same page to survive.
You need more coordination.
Okay, I get it. What about kinship intensity?
So that's about how important family and kinship ties are in a society.
Okay.
And there's this really interesting hypothesis that the rise of the Catholic Church in some parts of the world actually weakened those kin-based norms.
Really?
Yeah, it shifted things more toward individualistic values.
So less about your family, more about you.
Exactly. And some think that might have led to what they call weird psychology.
Weird.
It stands for Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic.
Ah, got it.
The point is, a lot of psychological research has been done on people from those cultures.
Which may not represent everyone.
Exactly.
So our social structures can even shape how we think.
Potentially, yeah.
Wow. What about how kids develop this whole norm understanding?
That's another big area of research.
Because obviously babies aren't born knowing the rules.
Right, but what's amazing is that humans seem to be like natural rule learners.
Mhm.
Yeah, even by 3 to 5 years old, kids are starting to show normative behavior. And it's pretty similar across cultures.
So are they just picking it up through observation?
It seems like it. They learn to understand different types of rules, like moral versus conventional.
Okay.
And they get good at reasoning about obligations and permissions.
So they're figuring out what they have to do, what they're allowed to do.
Exactly. And they don't just follow the rules, they start enforcing them too.
Like the little rule police.
Kinda, yeah. And they understand that intentions matter.
So if you break a rule on purpose, it's worse than if it was an accident.
Exactly. And there's a connection between their understanding of normative language
Mm-hmm.
and their ability to enforce norms,
So once they can talk about the rules, they can really police them.
pretty much. And here's the funny thing. They actually seem to like the people who enforce norms.
Like, good job, you told them off.
Exactly. And they learn so fast, often without anyone actually teaching them.
Just by watching and absorbing.
Exactly. That's why people talk about promiscuous normativity.
Promiscuous normativity.
It's like they love rules.
And making up new ones.
Yeah, exactly.
So like when kids get really into the rules of a made-up game.
Exactly. And then there's the descriptive to prescriptive tendency.
Okay, try saying that 5 times fast.
Right. It's also called the common is moral heuristic.
So like, if everyone's doing it, it must be okay.
That's the basic idea,
Mm-hmm.
which can be a problem because not everything everyone does is good.
Right. Peer pressure is a real thing.
The social media can make it even worse because it distorts our perception of what's common.
Right. Everyone on Instagram looks perfect.
Exactly. And then you have over-imitation in kids.
Over-imitation.
Yeah, they copy everything an adult does, even if it's pointless.
Really?
Yep. Like if you're teaching them to make a sandwich and you do some unnecessary step, they'll copy that too.
Why?
It seems inefficient, but some think it's crucial for transmitting culture.
So it's better to copy too much than too little.
That's the idea. Make sure you get all the important stuff.
Okay, now for a really interesting question. Do animals have social norms?
That's a big debate.
Like, do they have expectations and rules like we do?
Some researchers think they might. They point to things like chimps responding negatively to harm, the rules of play fighting, dominance hierarchies.
Like the pecking order in a chicken coop.
Exactly. And even things that look like cultural traditions.
Oh, right. Like that group of monkeys that learned to wash their food.
Exactly. But there's a lot of pushback, too. Some doubt that animals have the same kind of mental representations for rules that we do.
So they might be doing these things, but not for the same reasons.
Right. And there's not a lot of evidence for third-party punishment in animals.
So an animal might get upset if something happens to them directly,
Right.
but they might not intervene if it happens to someone else.
Exactly. There are lots of theories about what makes human normativity unique.
Okay.
Some say it's because our genes and our culture evolved together, creating special mechanisms for norms.
Like a feedback loop?
Yeah. Others say it's about our ability to share intentions or understand other people's beliefs.
That's deep.
It is. So yeah, it's still an open question whether animals have social norms like we do.
So we don't know for sure if they're thinking about rules the same way,
Right.
but they definitely have social structures and behaviors.
They do. And there's this new focus on looking at normative regularities.
Normative regularities.
So that's just looking at patterns of conformity, regardless of the underlying mental stuff.
It's about what they do, not how they think.
Exactly. Makes it easier to compare different species.
Okay, what about third-party punishment?
So that's been seen as really important for enforcing norms, especially in big groups where people aren't related.
Because you need some way to keep everyone in line.
Right. And game theory models show that punishment can make any norm stable.
Okay.
Plus, there's this idea of altruistic punishment.
Altruistic punishment.
It's where people are willing to punish others even if it costs them something.
Like, even if it puts them at risk.
Yeah, and studies show that that kind of behavior activates reward centers in our brains.
So maybe we're wired to enjoy punishing rule breakers.
It's possible.
Mm.
And being willing to punish, especially as a third party, shows you're committed to the group.
Like, I care about the rules.
Exactly. But there's also research that challenges this idea that punishment is the main way we enforce norms.
Okay.
Because actually, direct punishment in everyday life isn't that common.
Really?
Yeah, people are more likely to gossip or avoid the person.
So passive-aggressive punishment.
Kind of, yeah. And third-party punishment seems to be rarer in smaller societies.
Interesting. So maybe it's more of a thing in bigger, more complex groups.
It could be.
Yeah.
There's also evidence that positive reinforcement can be more effective than punishment.
Like rewarding good behavior instead of punishing bad behavior.
Exactly. And we tend to like people who help others more than people who punish others.
That's nice.
It is. So maybe norms are maintained more by our moral preferences, by social pressure, by the benefits of belonging to a group.
So it's not just about fear of punishment.
Right. It's about wanting to be a good group member.
Makes sense.
And don't forget, even enforcing norms is regulated by norms.
So there are rules about how to punish people.
Exactly. It can get really meta.
It really can.
And some think third-party punishment might be more about restoring broken norms than about day-to-day enforcement.
Like a reset button.
Kinda.
Wow, this has been like a truly epic deep dive into social norms.
It has been pretty deep, hasn't it?
I mean, it's amazing how many layers there are to this.
Yeah.
From evolution to our brains to different cultures.
It really is.
And it really makes you think about all those invisible rules that are running our lives.
Right.
So to wrap things up, to really think like a philosopher about all this,
Yeah.
it's about understanding how these mechanisms work and how they shape the world around us.
Absolutely.
And for everyone listening, hopefully this gives you a new way to look at how you interact with people, how different cultures work, even those big moral debates we all have.
Exactly.
So, final thought. We've talked about how our biology and our culture both shape our norms,
Right.
but that makes me wonder, how much can we actually change the rules of the game?
Mm.
Like, how much is fixed and how much is up for grabs?
That's a great question to consider. And I think understanding these mechanisms might give us some clues about how to make positive changes.
Totally. It's like once you see the matrix, you can start to bend the rules.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been fun.
And if you want to go even deeper, definitely check out the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy entry on the psychology of normative cognition.
Yeah, it's a great resource.
It really is. Thanks for listening.